Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Legion. Today I'm talking about Season 1, Chapter 5. In this episode, David has become a little bit more comfortable with his powers with the help of Lenny. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode because we see David kind of trying to strut his stuff in this episode, and because he thinks he's hot shit, and that's because he's working with Lenny, aka the Shadow King. And this episode I really enjoyed this episode because we dive into a lot of this stuff, because we have David going and destroying D3, the Division 3, in order to save his sister, and who he learns from her that he's adopted, which I had forgotten about a little bit on the I just hadn't thought of it. I knew his dad's Xavier, but I forgot the connection of the fact that he's technically adopted. Anyways, but I still like this episode because we get a little bit more into like who the Shadow King is, or what exactly it is. Everybody knows now, except for David, what's going on in his brain, and that there's some kind of parasite. Obviously I know because I'm rewatching that is the Shadow King, and we even see the Shadow King kind of interacting with, or using his ability, like using David's ability. It's a whole thing, but I really enjoy it for that, because they're giving you answers but not giving you answers at the same time, which I really enjoy about this show. Like they make it they show you Lenny, and they show you the fact that Lenny is also the yellow-eyed demon who's the Shadow King, and all these things, but at the same time kind of not at the same time. So it's interesting because Lenny was a person in other people's life, but was that just a projection? Has this always just been like a what was it, a psychic projection that the Shadow King was put in everybody's mind? I don't 100% know. That's why I kind of like it. It's a little ambiguous like that, to like when it comes to certain things revolving around David and his abilities and what the Shadow King can do within him. So I really enjoy this episode for that, like the way everybody figures out, first, Melanie seeing the Shadow King's like energy, I guess, on a special type of camera. That part, I like the effect, and I like the idea that they're able to see this thing in a sense that I could have used like a label on the bottom that was like a magic camera or something like that. So that was a little bit, but I do like that, she finds out this, like, they get a little bit of confirmation, and it's not this like questioning thing anymore. They see that it's not exactly David doing all the crazy stuff. It's something inside David, using his abilities / having its own abilities. That part's also a little unclear, and they try to explain it at one point in the episode, and it was still unclear. But yeah, I just really enjoy this episode for that. One of the other comments I wrote down about this one is, I want David's wardrobe, mainly his coats and stuff he wears. I just really like them. I dig them. They don't always match, but I think that's what he's going for. It reminds me a little bit of Doctor Who sometimes, but anyways, that's pretty much all my general thoughts. This episode was mainly focused around the team kind of trying to figure out what's going on with David, and kind of putting the pieces together about him having a parasite, and having that kind of made it seem like he had schizophrenia his whole life, because he does have another consciousness in his brain that also has abilities, and also able to use his abilities. It's the whole thing. And so yeah, that's what this whole episode was focused around. So it was great to rewatch this episode because it clears up some things. It does seem like Lenny / Benny was always like a kind of maybe a telepathic projection potentially, or but then that would make sense because it was in the wall. See, this is where I'm so confused about it. So we'll find out. She also gets her own body eventually. It's a whole thing. That's what's great about rewatching these series, is you get to rewatch, learn stuff, but it's also bad because you know stuff, and you're just trying to re-put the pieces together. Like, you already know the end product, but you forget some of the things along the way. So I'm excited to keep rewatching and discovering more of the Legion mystery that I forgot a little bit since I've watched it the first time. But yeah, that's all my thoughts about this episode. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about this episode of Legion. Thanks again for joining me. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.